guy alone inside. He's got the breakaway with the touch to the right. Goal! Everything you wanted from this debut. It's Brandon By. Taking a shot with the left. Goal! Isaac Frank from 25 yards out. The equalizer. Will Kidd with the touch of the goal. It's a go-ahead goal. Minneapolis City.
This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
All right, and we are back to the questions after a heated newlywed game.
101 episodes.
Part 2 of our 100th episode. 100B, we'll call it.
I'm happy to be here because I was on one of your early episodes. I'd like to call it episode 1.
It might have been, and it was the one that my kids can never listen to a podcast again because of. All right, so John and Dan, you guys, we established you guys were kind of old friends from the Ohio days. How did you all, and then you guys kind of met through friends of friends, Nick and John. How did you all come to connect here in the cities through Stegman's?
Well, first we actually had the meeting through friends of friends. John didn't really extrapolate on it. We had a blog back when blogs were a thing.
Yeah, like on the, what was that website? It was like Blogger or something,
Blogspot.
Right? Blogspot or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, we had a blog. So it was...
Well, you and John.
You and John had a blog?
Me and the guy who created the Free Beer Movement, Dan Wiersma. By the way, if you're listening, fucking call and text me back. He's supposed to be my best friend from college. Haven't heard from him in like 4 years.
He's got two new best friends, Dan Wiersma.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck off.
This is starting to get real.
Yeah. So we had a
like
blog.
how we
My guy
both
showed.
leaned in. Like,
Replaced you, Dan, with another Dan.
Yep. And then he met Bisswurm, and so then we had Bisswurm and your friend Dan Makowitz? Mackle. Dan Mack.
we did a podcast too.
Yeah, you guys started podcasting back before podcasting was actually a thing.
Yeah, our podcast name was Seven Guys Short because there was only
4 of us.
there was 4 of us and we needed 11.
Also,
Not
Nate,
bad.
he's your true love. I can tell.
John?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
he
I
was
mean,
an
he
experimental
may have
man.
been your first, but
Yeah.
I'm here for the long haul.
I mean, you got to try stuff with other people first before you find
Right.
love.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how John and I actually first got connected. Then we went to a game at Soldier Field.
We got a month worth of contact.
So we first met in Chicago for USA versus Brazil at Soldier Field.
The Nike series is what they dubbed.
Yep. And Dempsey scored a goal. I remember that, to bring it to like 2-2, and then Brazil just
Deuce.
put the foot on the pedal and,
Oh, yeah.
and creamed us.
Ronaldinho just
that was back in
made
the
us
day.
look dumb.
And then, yeah, we kind of sort of stayed connected as air quotes, sarcastic air quotes, Facebook friends. And then when you moved up here, that's how we kind of rekindled everything, because it's like, oh, fellow soccer people. I just need more soccer people in my life at that time.
The
And
right type of soccer people.
I need even more now that I have kids and a wife who's got me on a leash.
The right type.
I mean, I gotta say that, so Facebook gets a bad rap for basically giving Russia our government, and that's a tough thing. But honestly, on the plus side,
course.
is it gave the world Stegmans. Now,
It really did.
I'm not gonna say that's gonna overwhelm everything, except it does, because not only did it get John and Nick together, but so I'd moved back to Minnesota after living out in New York, and was working in an agency in town, and just like randomly, I was kind of going through contacts, and I saw John. I know when we were kids, we were really, really great friends. Just sent him a friend request, and
It took me like 30 seconds to be like,
just on it, But then I posted a job for. Actually, I'd sent him a message because I saw he was in advertising. I was like, "Oh shit, you're in advertising, me too." And all of a sudden, John's like, "Hey, I want to talk to Dan Hoedeman again."
Hi, best friend.
Anyway, actually, he calls me up.
we didn't post a soccer job. I would have been all over that.
No, he calls me up. It was a great conversation. I get back in, I'm talking to my wife, and she's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Well, I knew him, back in Ohio and all this." I'm like, no wonder we were friends when we were 11. Anyway, John comes in to interview, gets the job, moves up here.
Nailed it.
Totally nailed it. And then I introduced him to some guys in this team I was playing on. I didn't love that much. And I'm like, "Hey, so you want to play with them this summer?" John goes, "No, man, those guys suck. We can start our own team."
Well, it was because I turned up to practice in quotes, and it was 4 guys off doing one thing by themselves. I brought the only ball with air in it. Like, it was just a fuckus is the only way to put it. And I was like, I come from a world of organized soccer. Like, I don't have many
Very
years
German.
left.
I am
Extremely German.
German.
I don't have many years left to play. I don't want to be fucking around with bullshit. I want to play the right way, and I want
So
to have a
then
club.
we kind of, the co-ed team my wife and I were playing on, we kind of took over shit, Jesse and I did, and created Free Beer Movement FC just to be cool. And you guys played, and so yeah, your desire for organization led to disorganized co-ed chaos, in which Graham Campbell showed up in cargo shorts and flats to play indoor.
Basketball shoes.
Yeah.
Oh,
high tops.
basketball shoes.
Yeah,
high tops.
yeah, high tops.
Graham Campbell, one of the
Stegman's legend.
Stegman's
Stegman's legend.
Founding member.
I love
Yes.
Graham so much. So anyway, I will say though that if you're listening at home or at the lumberyard, not important, and you're wondering what does it take to start a successful men's league club, it actually takes people with different skills. So one of the things that Nick brings to the table is, you know, he's great at organization. That's why he's president of the MRSL. And you know, just has a really good idea of like working within organizations, working within, you know, governing bodies, understanding like who you need to talk to get stuff done. I'm really good at asking questions like, how are we going to afford this? And John is really good at saying things like, no, man, that sucks. We should do our own thing. We should totally do it. And by we, I mean mainly you guys, and I'm going to bring the ball. And you know what? You need all that because you can't play soccer without a ball.
I'll
That's
also
actually a
bring the
fact.
air.
And what year
Hot
was
air.
this?
Lots of hot air.
So much hot air.
So you guys got together and you decided Stegman's is the
9 years
team.
ago?
We're using our coach as the.
Oh no, there was no we here. John decided that every other team was stupid. We should start our own.
Uh-huh.
Nick decided that
You're welcome,
actually
everyone.
we could probably make this happen. And I decided that we should name it after Mr. Stegman. By the way, I have a logo, and also how we're going to afford this.
There it is.
And that's how it happened.
SOB. Yeah. So Mr. Stegman, of course, is the guy that's been on our captain's armband since we started at Minneapolis City. He's on the numbers on the back of your kit.
We also had at one point, we used to do club T-shirts. And we...
Theo's
His
Sama
mustache is
Airport thing.
famous.
we used to do club
Saddam.
T-shirts, and over the course of time, like as we were gaining sponsors, like Two Gingers was one of our sponsors, so we did a Two Gingers inspired shirt. We did a Summit inspired shirt. But then one year, Dan's like, "What if we did like a Che Guevara, like Stegman's kind of
Like inspired design using Tom Stegman.
yeah?"
And
So
he had this like legit mustache.
he looks like Tom Selleck.
He really does.
So I'm in the Toronto airport, and I'm coming back home from a trip with my wife, and I'm wearing my Che Guevara-inspired Tom Stegman shirt, and I'm at the urinal, and I do my business. I turn around and go to wash my hands, and this guy next to me is washing his hands, looks at the mirror up, and like I can see he's looking at me through the mirror, and he's looking at my shirt, and all he says is, "Sweet Saddam shirt, dude." Like, I'd be rolling around with a shirt of Saddam Hussein on it.
Poor Tom Stegman, owner of a Southern Ohio furniture store.
The patio and hearth.
Just
came.
nice as could be.
Put in hiding. So, you guys, what year was this when you decided to found Stegman's?
9 years ago?
2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Since
That
then,
was the
you've
first season we
absorbed
played.
other teams in the league,
nice
the
season.
internationals.
Yeah.
So you've got the Stegman's internationals.
Actually,
now.
no, we absorbed one team in the MASL for reasons.
Affiliation purposes, too. Like
Affiliation
to have a
purposes
top
and
level.
reasons. But for the most
debt
part,
reasons.
we built up Stegman's from one team in 2010. Was it 2 in 2011 or 2012? We
No,
made the jump to 2.
we added a second one in
The very
2011.
next year,
2011,
yeah.
yeah.
So we went from 1 to 2 right away, 20 guys to 40 guys, and then we built up over the years to 4 teams before we took on internationals for affiliation reasons, debt reasons, lots of reasons, to improve the Stegman's name.
Because our goal was to win the league every year and get promoted and be in the top division, but we found that that's not necessarily easy.
Yeah, that's not what we're good at.
We got older every year.
Right.
That's,
We keep getting older, they keep staying the same age. Motherfuckers.
well, that's 9 years of quality soccer together. It's gotta lead to a lot of great on-field moments. We talked about off-field moments as a bonding experience in the previous segment. Let's talk about some on-field moments because I'm sure you guys have a ton.
Nate, that's a daytime Emmy transition. Right there.
Yeah.
You are
nailed
the
it.
king.
I'm not bad.
Even though this is not about you, you really nailed it.
Yeah, really. So I'd like to talk a little bit about our home in North Minneapolis, Lincoln Field, called the Link. I love playing the Link. That field's great. I've tried to buy it numerous times.
It's on 11th and Penn for those of you who are in the area.
Every
It's
time-
not in a nice neighborhood.
And every time Minneapolis Park Board says no, and then they don't use it, which is disappointing. But that's the way things work. But it's not in a great area, and it was even worse a few years ago when we started playing there. So John and I get out of the car for our first game. We're bringing in all the gear, nets and corner flags and beer and all that. And then these people sit down on the front
And a
stoop.
ball.
And a ball. An inflated ball. Like a whole grip of people on this front stoop. And then one woman from the front stoop yells, "Hey, Pele, what you doing?" And Biz, obviously thinking, well, she's talking to me. He goes, "Hey, we've got a soccer game. Well, tell me all about it," right? Like, all about it. Gives him beer. Super friendly, right? Like, classic John. So we get in there, turn it out. And he's telling her, "Yeah, we're playing this from St. Cloud, blah, blah, blah." Anyway, 34 minutes later, all of a sudden, 2 cars of St. Cloud people come up. And they, open it up and,
Like, where are we?
come out, North Minneapolis, and they see 20 people in this front yard, and let's just say that they got cat calls and yelled at, and anyway, fast forward to about
Welcome
30
to
minutes
Minneapolis,
in,
bitch.
30 minutes in, and they're taking an attacking corner kick, and I'm in goal, and John's defending. Well, I mean defending, air quotes.
John
And
doesn't defend.
I don't
The
go
guy's
for,
about
go for headers.
to take the corner kick. John turns to the biggest guy in the middle and goes, "Hey man, is that your car?" All of a sudden, all the St. Cloud guys look. The ball sails all over their head. None of them jump for it.
That is how I defend.
Best on-field moment.
That's a good one. Nick.
Oh God, there's so many that I can't even remember because I'm old. My favorite moment on field is the very first free beer night. I
With
can't.
the Sauna Foundation.
No.
this is
Before
pre-sauna.
that,
Oh,
this is
yeah,
pre-sauna.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think we gave it to Socket or something.
Yeah. Suck it.
I can't remember who
with
got
the quarters.
fouled, but somebody got fouled right around the halfway line. Bisswurm takes the free kick. I make this odd run all the way across the field from left mid, left fullback, left striker. I don't remember what position I was
Inventive run.
Inventive, yes. Inventive run. All the way across. And somehow Bisswurm puts it on my head as I'm kind of jumping and twisting in the air, and I nod it down to Hoedeman in the box, who scores against GM Cheerios.
Yeah.
Who's still a team,
Yeah.
but they
General Mills has a soccer
they
team?
used to have
Yeah.
2. Now they
Amazing.
only have the 1 because
Usually
they
they're pretty
suck
good,
at
though.
running soccer.
They were usually pretty good.
They were pretty
The
decent.
Cheerios team blows ass.
I also have a Cheerios moment.
But yes, you do. They still play at that field, by the way, although not as many fans turn up. Anyway, I headed down, and I'm all of 5'8.5". So I jumped up, and just like in my high school days, when I was going up against that 6'2" guy, I jumped first, get my arm on the shoulder, so when he jumps, I go higher, and knock this down to Dan. He scores, and then starts the churning butter celebration. And if you look back far enough on the Stegman's Facebook profile, you can find the video, the pictures of that celebratory moment.
The fastest I ran was to do that goal celebration.
Right? And then later that day, I made his baby son cry. And there's pictures of that too.
That is also true.
See, I remember that vividly because I put a pinpoint ball onto your body, not down to Dan. But I remember vividly is I thought you weren't churning the butter, you were pouring a tap.
That's actually what it was.
Oh.
I was pouring the tap beer.
You were
Gyrating
while you were
awkwardly
doing
while-
it, so I was confused.
I was very excited.
There was a scarf in your
As people
crotch
do.
and your thumb under
Many things were
region.
happening.
Yeah.
So my on the field moment also comes against the General Mills Cheerios. So we're playing at their place.
Their team name we are the General Mills Cheerios.
Yeah.
Yes, and their jerseys were black shorts, yellow socks.
It's not a fucking creative bone in that building. I'll tell you what.
Once again, Nate, this is not about you.
Making an observation.
So I've been known to play with a level of intensity,
Be a dick.
and I just don't have room for bullshit. I just don't like. So we're playing against this.
Except his
Be a dick.
So we're playing against the GM Cheerios, and the reason why I mentioned pinpoint accuracy and Nick's memory here was, so one of our guys. So I play defensive center midfield. One of our guys in front of me goes up for a header, and this guy who's been chirping at the ref all day and just he was being an asshole.
He was a cunt.
Yeah. So. Whoa.
Oh, is that not allowed? I've already said fuck.
The
Can we
hard
not
C.
Wow. So our guy goes up for a head ball and he undercuts him, so this guy falls like square on his head on the turf. And of course, I'm having none of that. So before the referee can even blow the whistle, both of the guy who undercut our guy kind of lands on the ground. And because I have not heard the whistle yet,
Lies.
I collect the ball and I look up, and this poor helpless individual is just laying there like 5 yards from me. So I take a touch away from any sort of play and I rifle the ball square at this guy, like full intention to just
right in the face.
to hit this guy. I didn't mean to hit him in the face, but my pinpoint accuracy, I can't stop it, right?
Honestly, I thought you were aiming for the dick.
So I hit a ball as hard as I can. Good thing for me, from a referee standpoint, is one of our guys was making an off-the-ball run probably 30 yards away. So it looked as if I was trying to connect with that guy.
You're just bad.
Instead, I hit this poor guy
So hard.
square in the face. Head snaps back. He goes down, nose bleeding. And then I hear from the stands, "That is despicable. You should be ashamed of yourself."
Someone's mom is
And
mad.
I look over, and it's our right back's mom, who's chastising me for just drilling this poor guy who's like flopping like a dead fish on the turf.
I mean, the best thing about John is he just he does it. I mean, all season long. So I thought your best story was going to be John has spent all game kicking this team, the team that's managed by the guy who runs us Augsburg. So obviously the guy you should pick on. Anyway, one of his players has enough and goes in super late and just John puts in a challenge and pulls out. He'd already gone in super late on you, so you went kind of late on him, but pulls out. But then the guy goes to stomp on John. I'm close enough to be like, oh fuck that.
I can't see it.
So
'Cause
I
I'm on
go
the ground, this guy's
blasting
stomping.
past the referee. Again, this is the fastest I've run all game. And, two-handed just shove him off of John. The way he flopped, it may have seemed like I threw him into St. Paul. I did not. I literally step over John, who he's gonna step on, and things may have been able to happen because nobody fucked with my friend from the 80s.
Hashtag brotherhood.
Brotherhood. I get sent off. I'm like, ref, he was about to stomp him. He goes you ran past me. I'm like, you clearly were not going to do anything about it. I don't know why that wasn't convincing. I thought that was when.
Maybe after all that, the
Friends
ref was
protecting friends,
the
John.
ref was like, let's just see what happens.
Honestly, I would have too. I would have tearing after that guy.
I almost killed
I
the
would
guy.
have just taken a breath. I would have given the red card after the fact, having repped all of the Stegman's indoor leagues from point of conception. I would have just taken a breath, let it happen, and then given the red card.
I was like, literally, John and the other guy could have killed each other. All I did was shove him off of John. And I get the red card.
For what it's worth, we needed to win that game to get promoted.
Not all heroes wear capes.
We needed to win that game to get. We needed to win that game to get promoted. It was tied at that point. Dan gets sent off. We're down a guy, and I set up the game winner. So
John, this podcast isn't about you.
it isn't.
So
I'm
Dan,
gonna make it about me.
both philosophically and practically, how would you say that the Stegman's organization that you guys had established laid the groundwork for making Minneapolis City a reality?
So
Now I have to get serious. God.
Yeah,
I know.
Now
it's
we've
like,
got real
you're
questions.
asking real questions.
Well, so
we were
it
just ripping.
taught us a couple things. And so it did teach us about what it took to win and what we need to do to attract players and what players this level were really looking for, particularly as it got better. And that was really important. We knew it was like, what is it like to travel? We did the trip to Fargo. We'd gone to Milwaukee. We played, we played all these friendlies. So we had a really good idea of what it took. We knew how good our competitors were, and we knew how hard it was to fight for players. And then I think the thing that Stegman's taught us that was maybe different than others was, so often, particularly say like Minnesota, it's a little bit of a smaller state, and you have these people who've been around for a long time. It taught us the importance of brand and like doing things differently. Because none of us are from Minnesota. I mean, even though I was born there, like we didn't grow up playing like Minnesota soccer forever. And the great thing about Stegman's is, you can come from anywhere. You can come from Minnesota. You can live part of your life in Minnesota. You can move here. You can marry a Minnesota girl, whatever, and you can be really integrated. And so, we had this sort of like professionally amateur. We're just here like having fun, and a little bit of like fuck the man type of approach, which made us think about how this thing could work differently. I mean, because when we started, John and I went to this bar, and this like guy was sort of a legend in Minnesota soccer for reasons unknown to me, fat fucker, told us, he's like, oh, you're not going to last longer than 2 years. No one ever has.
And then I told him to go hit his keyboard up in his mom's basement.
Did I tell you he sent me a congratulatory tweet after things started to get rolling?
Yeah, he sent
at my professional account, not my personal account, my professional one.
He knew better than to send it to me.
But we had this great baseline for the business. For the playing side, we sort of knew that if we did it like everyone else had, we'd have ended up in the same spot.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to end up in the same spot. And so we're going to approach this as a challenger. We're do things differently, and we're either going to live gloriously or die in a flaming wreck right away.
And you made it.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
The flaming wreck can still happen, Nate.
Good. Let's get into the founding of Minneapolis City.
I mean, we are in the club shop right now.
Here we are.
So
What?
that doesn't speak
And
flame out to me.
there are sirens in the background, so
Yeah.
this might be on fire.
Unlikely for us.
Right.
We are
But
a
you never know.
Club. We are a
Speaking
city
of sirens, I
club.
thought of another good off-the-field moment.
I think we got to go back to that. Can you edit this, Nate?
We gotta move on. So let's get into the founding of Minneapolis City. Oh, here it comes.
Yep, there it is. Not on fire.
Oh, good. It's
Not on
for us.
fire.
Not for us. Not for us. Good.
Welcome
Good.
to South Minneapolis.
Was there a single moment that you guys can all pinpoint where you all, whether it was either together in a restaurant or bar or separately in your basement or whatever, had this light bulb go on where you said, we're going to do this. We're going to start this semi-pro club. We're going to start Minneapolis City.
I don't know what you're insinuating by saying in a bar, like we drink a lot, or
You just
in
hang
a
out.
basement, like
Yeah,
we're just
jeez.
pounding a keyboard.
It's
like,
one or the other. Pounding a keyboard.
like in our mom's basement or something, and all creepy. Yeah,
So
yeah.
But also, yes.
But,
Okay,
so
yeah.
was there that moment where you guys were like looking at each other like, let's just fucking do this. Let's pull the trigger on this club.
I think.
Go ahead, John.
I think the year we affiliated with the Internationals, which then became Stegman 77, eventually, I think the year we tried that out, and we saw the caliber of player that is attracted to the Division I level in amateur soccer here. Seeing that and then knowing the connections we'd made, I kind of felt at that moment was like, if we're gonna make a go at amateur soccer, like we have the foundation with that team, and there's still guys today that are from that team, like AO, who's our captain, like he came from that. Timmy came from that. We've had like Ryan Camerata was part of that.
Yeah,
Big Game James. Like we've had that foundation that we acquired has really set the groundwork for what we have in Minneapolis City. And I think for me that it was that moment was like we won the Division I title that year. It was like, okay, like we can actually make a run at this because if we don't find any other players, I'm comfortable putting that team in an amateur soccer setting at a higher level and then doing all right.
Mm-hmm. And I had a strange week when I had this this idea because typically John's
Sounds
the
like
one
a
who's like
horror
who's
movie.
really pushing me forward, right?
Yeah.
And Nick's the one who's usually kind of like, yeah, actually this is probably doable, but so Minnesota United fans may recognize the name Nick Platter from back Thunder. He played for Thunder Stars. And then he left before United, went to Strikers, and now he's in the front office at North Carolina. Well, he went to high school with me. Really good dude. And so I talked to him, and he started talking about what's going on with the Strikers, and I was moving to North Carolina and all that. And then later that week, I talked to Tony Sana, and he had this picture of the Thunder team that was arguably the best team in the country at the time. And between the two of them, and this is when Minnesota United had not announced it was clearly going to MLS. The thing that came out from those conversations was what kind of Thunder Stars had done was they'd been this great launching pad for local talent. And I'm a contemporary of guys like Dustin Brannon and his brother and Donnie Mark and some of these other guys. I remember being in MASL in like 03 or 04 after I graduated and came back to America, and like MASL guys would go and play for the Thunder. And Minnesota United going to MLS, no fault of their own, right? You go national level, different type of player and all that. It felt like there was a gap that opened up, and it also felt like nobody was filling that. With all the stuff we'd learned, like John said, we knew the level in terms of players, and because we traveled, we knew how to make that happen. And because all the stuff Nick knew, we kind of like knew how the federation worked, the state associations and all that.
So you were like, here, doors open, we got to do this.
Holy shit! Like, not only like can we do this, but we need to.
Yeah.
Like, this has to happen. And I remember going to these guys like, oh my god, we need to do this. And then we looked at the price tags of some of these leagues, and we're like, holy shit, we can only afford the PLA. And so we joined the PLA.
And there we go. So
And I distinctly remember real quick.
Yeah.
It was an interesting year. 26. Well, it was going to be an interesting year for me. I changed roles at work, so it was like, this is good. It's great. Let's go. But I'm not going to be able to do anything. So it really was the two of these guys then taking and running with it after that.
As early as the logo reveal, it was clear that Minneapolis City would be a different voice in the soccer world. Was that something you guys had talked about, in forming the club? Or was it kind of stumbled upon when you decided to post Grumpy Cat memes and shit?
So I will tell you that. So we got really involved with a designer, Trent Edwards, who Nate worked with you and me and Riley Hayes, and John, you and me and Riley Hayes.
Fuck you, Trent.
Fucking awesome designer. If anyone has seen Insight Brewing or like Alaris, I'm sure you can look up his book. He's really good.
This is a soccer podcast, not an ad podcast.
I just want to, Trent Edwards, freelancing, give him a call.
Trent, great logo, by the way. Love it.
Well, so like we reached out all these really talented designers, and Trent came back with this brand that was like, what the fuck is that? Really like it. But what we knew was, again, like we couldn't be the same. And the thing is, in town, Minnesota United, as far as like a classic sports brand and sort of classic branding, they're sort of the best of the genre. So, they're among the top of the genre. And we sort of looked at it, we're like, well, it's kind of hard to beat. They got a ton of money, and they got a nice logo, and Sue Jones is a good agency, and like, and then also wasn't really us, because we weren't a company, right? We weren't a company who's going to go out and find an agency and do stuff. We were just this group of regular people who were going to go like ask our friends who had skills and be like, hey man, can you do something that feels like? And the brief literally was, can you do something that feels like us and feels like Minneapolis? And we told him, like, hey, maybe it should be blue and stuff like that. Yeah, we had a bunch of people try, and he ignored all the things we told him and came back with, like, the logo and this weird stuff. And then I knew based on my initial reaction to the logo, because the first time I saw it, I'm like, I don't like this at all. And I slept on it, and the next day I'm like, this is really good. And I think that was a reaction for Nick and John, like we all had, because, like, the first day we were like, oh, no. And the second day we were like, oh, actually. And they got more and more. I told them, I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this, like, graphic and include Grumpy Cat because this is weird dead meme, and also like fuck you guys, you don't like it.
And he did not want anything to do with that.
No, Trent was like, I don't want that. Actually, you were like, I don't like that either. And I pretty much said, I'm gonna do it anyway. But that's sort of our whole ethos, where you're like, if you've got this like creative line, you're gonna hit it pretty hard. We give each other a lot of freedom to do it. Trent's logo, weird and fucking cool. And Grumpy Cat, weird and fucking cool, and like
wearing pink on the way, weird and
fucking cool.
And that was the beginning.
Well, and John had to talk our coach out of it, because our coach is like, the guys aren't gonna like that. Like John's like, no.
They're all college kids. They're
gonna love it.
They wear pink,
and you're gonna go to somebody else's stadium, and you're gonna beat them in pink, and you're gonna be like, fuck you, dog. I'm pretty sure that's an exact quote.
You don't get kids like that. Again, weird but totally cool. In the first season, we roll out the throwback logo and the throwback kit. For the FC Fargo game or whatever.
No, that was actually before our first game.
Classic us, right?
Yeah, we had the idea before we even played a game.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just that
Not
is classic
many
us.
teams can throw up to a throwback before their first game.
Whose idea was that?
I'm not sure. John
It
and
might
I
have
were
been
getting
your idea, but
we were getting drunk with Trent and some other people across the river from our office, and it came up somehow. The history
We should have a retro
it's
kit
lost in
in
a
the
haze
first
of
season.
pictures and tugs.
I think the conversation went like this. So what are you guys doing? You're starting a lower division soccer team in Minnesota? That seems dumb. You know what would be cool? We already have a logo, but why don't we make another one and throw back to it?
As if you've been here the whole time.
Yeah.
Each of you, you have your own expertise, like you've mentioned, in like running a team, what you bring to the administration of Minneapolis City. So your perspectives here are going to might be different. But after City's inaugural season, what was your most prominent takeaway? We'll start with Nick.
My most prominent takeaway, I was traveling a lot for work that year. So I kind of said, as president of the MRSL, as somebody who's helping to run Stegman's, this is not going to be something I'm going to be able to actively participate in. So my biggest takeaway was really something we had been saying for years on the Stegman side, which is we need to find more people to help us run this thing, whether volunteer, whether we pay them
They're waiting summit.
whether we give them a stipend of beer, just something. We need to get more people involved. And you saw people come out of the woodwork, whether we asked them to or whether they just naturally did it because of their personality types. And that was my biggest takeaway, was that this can't continue at the level of Stegmansness for Stegman's, let alone adding on Minneapolis City.
That's nice.
I like that.
Without more people involved. So that was my big thought.
I'd like to piggyback on Nick's because I think he hit on it.
Yes, and if you
I'm
will.
gonna yes and.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do a Brantism, which only Nate and I get.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And John, Brand Hale.
Sorry, Nick.
But Nick hit on an important thing. I guess if you're going to ask about kind of founders of Minneapolis City, it is important to bring up someone who's not here. And I'd say Sarah Schreier.
Right.
So Sarah found. So I run the Twitter account primarily, and she found us, but like me on Twitter, asked if she could help. And she's got these really interesting skills in terms of like operational organization, travel arrangement.
But when we talked to her at the local that one time, really all she could tell us was she's good at Twitter. And
She's
look
like,
at what it's
she's
blossomed
like
into.
Nick,
Right?
only better.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
it comes to administrative
All of a sudden, there's this
all the
diamond in the
operational
rough,
shit.
right? That's just like...
Oh, yeah.
That has a desire to be part of it too, which is like
that too, yeah.
you
She
have-
was better than I was at things, and
anyone, whether it's our coaches, even our players, people from our fan base who've jumped into other roles, you have to just have a desire to be like, this is fucking cool and I want to be part of it. If you don't have that, then we don't want to work with you because it makes no sense then. Because we all do this for free, so we don't want someone who has a hidden agenda at trying to be part of it.
Yeah, and I'd say that, if you talk about founders, she should probably be here. And the great thing about our whole club and the organization being volunteer based is, like John said, it's what you put into it. She put in a ton. It started with just helping us with our travel to Milwaukee for our first game. Now she runs our merch and she does a bunch of operational stuff and we've got a bunch of people who do that now. But she started really early, kind of based on Twitter. And it's sort of like when we started Stegman's, where you need people with different skill sets. As we get bigger, you need more people. You need more people with
Other
skill
skills,
sets and
yeah.
the ability to do it. And it's one thing to have fun, starting with a men's league team. It's a totally different thing when you've got 5, 6, 7, 800 people rolling up to games.
You're playing in a for-profit league, and it's just a whole nother level that people don't think about.
if I can put this concisely,
Please do.
Yeah, I'd love to try.
Yeah, because I haven't gotten to my part yet.
The first quarter of the very first season, she was the Nick of Minneapolis City. After that first quarter of the very first season, I'm now the Sarah of Stegman. I mean, that is
point.
legitimately we are two sides of the same coin. Yet I do it on the very amateur level, and she does it on the professionally amateur level.
John, your takeaway is probably gonna be a little different because you're focused on player development. After City's inaugural season, what were you looking at?
I'm glad you asked, Nate. Very good question. So, again,
Typically brilliant.
Wow.
why do I keep leaning into the
How do you
microphone? I've been
glad
saying
hand and slap balls on a podcast?
it's because he's the one. No, I think organically you knew where I was going to go with my answer because of doing this podcast with me. I mean, I looked at from a player perspective and the league we were in with the PLA at the time. I looked at, we finished a disappointing third. We just fell down and we tripped over our own selves not to get into the playoffs. And I looked at on paper the other teams and I was like, outside of the Bavarians, really, who else could we possibly not be better than? They've been doing it for so long, and knowing my background with them, I looked at, what would it take to win that league? And we built the team in year 2 basically to win the PLA. Mm-hmm. We had the players that could win that league, and then we moved to the NPSL.
So how did that decision to move the team from the PLA to the NPSL come about?
So it basically boiled around the operational costs. I mean, we were traveling to Cedar Rapids. We were traveling to Milwaukee, to Madison, twice to Milwaukee, Madison. We only had, I don't even know.
Well, we had United Reserves in town, but then they were going to take them away and move us to a team in Chicago.
Yeah, so we were going to have to go even further away.
So we had the closest
Adria or something.
4 hours away.
Yeah.
So operationally, it made sense for us to look at something that would be built around either us being the cornerstone or an existing team being kind of the cornerstone in that league, to build a conference around. And that's what the NPSL did. They built a conference in the north, and we were able to then enter it. But from building the team to win the PLA, then that was the challenge. We again finished a disappointing third because we had built a team that was for another league. And then I feel that it took us 3 years in doing this from a player perspective, from a team perspective, and a style of play to figure it out. And then we did. We figured it out. We went undefeated. We're the highest scoring team in the country. Gave up top 10 goals against. We figured out the formula of the type of player we need, the type of style we need in order to be successful in the NPSL.
And I'd say about the NPSL, the interesting thing is, so there are two. One, if you look at amateur teams in the United States, the NPSL teams are the ones that are drawing. They're building clubs. Mm-hmm. The players can ball. And
a lot of alumni that play pro soccer now.
Yeah, it's a thriving club culture. PDL doesn't draw anyone, UPSL doesn't draw anyone, whatever. But what was different for us was in the PLA, Bavarians were the team that everyone wanted to beat, or maybe Adria, right? Like they won on each side. Historic clubs, very good. I think what surprised us when we got the NPSL is all of a sudden everyone wanted to beat us. And in fact, if you ask the teams in our division, even today, like I was reading the Med City thing in the Protagonist, their blog, they're like, yeah, our big rivals are Minneapolis City. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Duluth's like, our
That's
big rival
flattering.
is Minneapolis City. Huh? Like, I get if you're VSLT or Twin Stars, like
We're in the backyard.
we're 5 miles away from VSLT. We're like 7 from Twin Stars. Of course you don't. Fargo's like, we'd really like to beat Minneapolis City. Huh? Literally everyone. We're like their big rival, right? I mean,
we have the target.
I get it. We weren't expecting it rolling out of the PLA, but sure. And I think it took a little while for like everyone to come out. Like everyone has all their players for us. All those players are really trying to roll out as hard as they can. Like people want to take us down. Took a season to get used to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's tough.
The first season in the NPSL did end on a high note with the victory away at Med City, if I remember right, but otherwise kind of ingloriously, another third place finish.
We got to knock them out of the playoffs. Like
Yep.
there was something like we knew going into that game. Like Adam couldn't coach the game, so I helped out with that. And like I knew from Dan, who wasn't there,
I was there.
Or I knew from you ahead of time. We'll leave it at that.
We heard on the way down that we were not.
Yeah,
in the
we weren't
playoffs.
going to make the
That was
playoffs.
So we we finished about the same as the year before. But in your mind, what do you think worked that first year? And what did you leave that first season in the NPSL needing to fix?
Sorry, can I just say that, by the way, if we are super let down by missing the playoffs
By
like
points.
1 point and finishing third, I think that's okay.
That's good.
Right.
I never want it to happen again because it was terrible, but also there are worse terribles than third.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, to get really to the core of your question, it's we owe a lot of thanks to the people who kind of helped us start the team in order to get us to where we needed to where we knew we needed to go from. And I think if you go back to our first coach, Keith Kicker, he introduced us to the soccer people that we already didn't have relationships with in town. And from that came, our relationships with Shattuck and with MTA and St. Croix, all the youth teams, and the caliber of player that was coming out of there that would fit the gap that we had a team for. And I think that if we didn't have that in the beginning, we would have rolled out with our Stegman's team, which wouldn't have been bad. But we were then introduced to Division I players, guys like Samuel Plaza, who was finishing up his 4th year in school and being an All-American. We wouldn't have had guys like Trey Benhart. We are successful now because we have a core and a backbone or a spine of these type of players that were brought to us by the relationships that we built.
So all of that set us up for this last season, which was about as close to a dream season as you could have. So close on the heels of founding the club.
We gave up a few goals.
Yeah, from game day prep to coaching the players to all any point of the operation. What kinds of things do you attribute this season's success to? Not to say that we haven't had it the whole time, but really, what's the secret sauce that we found this season?
I mean, I guess I'll start. Everyone's looking at me. I think there's a couple things. I think one was truly understanding what these players need to thrive. And I've had conversations with players that have come to us from other clubs, and I tell them, we practice twice a week. And they go, what the fuck? You guys are that good and you practice twice a week? Yeah, and actually you only have to make one training session in that week to be on the game day roster. We just have guys that are so dedicated into that mold that we've given them the autonomy to have a life outside of soccer. We train from 8 to 10, 9 to 11 p.m. at night. We allow them to live their life, and we fit their soccer needs, and they thrive in that environment. Yeah, it takes a little getting used to play at 9 o'clock at night, but you get used to it. And it fits into your schedule. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one that we've given our players the ability to live outside of soccer, and then they work harder in those limited touch points because of the fact that they know it's their only chance to play together. I think that's one.
I mean, because we saw the players who were really playing big minutes were going to both training sessions, and then because we play Wednesdays and Saturdays, and then they play MSL on Thursday, and they'd probably play MSL most Sundays, so they'd have one day off.
Mm-hmm. But it's also that also builds that brotherhood that Wexler's always talking about.
But it gives
it
gives them the choice to have their day off on Thursday or Sunday when they've committed to playing the MASL. We're not telling them you can't play in the MSL. Yeah, if a guy's injured, we might suggest hey, don't be a fucking dummy and roll out on a men's league game and get hurt because you're coming off an injury. But we give them the opportunity to choose what they want. I think the second thing is that we moved training to indoors, and Minnesota summers are equal parts awesome, equal parts terrible with the weather that we can get here.
Yep.
And knowing that our competitors, our rivals, are skipping practice because it's raining out.
Mm-hmm. Or it's hot.
Or
the bugs.
Yeah. Any number of those things.
Yep.
Flock of crows is coming in. Technical difficulties, all that stuff. But we have now an opportunity for our training sessions to never be canceled.
Sure. Here's, Dan, this is for you. Here's something that struck me after the 4-2 victory in Duluth that we all loved so much. As we're sitting in the brewery at Omni, right? And I'm thinking man, now we get to go to the playoffs in Ann Arbor. The more successful Minneapolis City becomes on the field and in the community, the more that success costs. travel to postseason tournaments. You got the U.S. Open Cup. You've got, the NPSL postseason. You've got a U23 and a U19 team. There's this greater investment in merch and the game day experience, right? All these things cost money, and all these are added costs from the days at South High when we're just like rubbing the nuts of the bronze tiger as we're coming out.
That was awesome.
Is this success potentially an issue? And at what point are you guys happy to say, like, we're set, we are what we are, and we're happy with it?
First off, if any of the regional or national tournament draws were fair, we wouldn't have to travel every year as Stegman / Minneapolis
Nick, are you
City.
saying it's weird to be drawn home one time in 14 draws?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Bold
Yes, I am.
words. that does seem unusual for a random draw.
That does.
I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus
I don't
because I'm a
want to say
league
that they're
administrator.
somehow rigged.
But yeah, it seems a little shitty.
A lot shitty.
I mean,
but knowing that these costs do pile up, one way or the other.
No, I mean, I think for us it's about staying true to the mission, right? And we're really a mission-driven organization, and we want to make sure that we're serving local players. We want to make sure we're serving the local community. How far can that go? Well, I gotta believe, given what we did with the set of players we had right now, not beating the league, top scoring team in the country. I mean, the playoff game we lost. First of all, the playoffs. So many things can happen in a one-game thing. But also, we played with 10 men.
Top defender who had mono.
For 20 minutes.
First 20 minutes.
And when they
we
scored
were
a
missing.
game,
We were missing
their
8
second
starters.
their second goal's a penalty. They call it a handball that hit the guy's shoulder. Okay, ref. Hey, that happens sometimes. That happens in playoffs, right?
That's why soccer's a bitch.
Right. That's why it sucks.
And a gift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it can be a gift too. The thing is, if we're playing with Minnesota players, we're gonna be good. If we keep serving those Minnesota players, we're gonna be really good. If you ask me what the future holds, I don't know, because I don't know what U.S. Soccer holds. U.S. Soccer can't even tell us not just how many pro teams there are next year. They can't even tell us how many pro leagues there are next year. Why don't we know about U.S. Open Cup? They don't know those things. Really, really, guys, you have no idea what's going to happen in 5 months. That's our federation. I mean, that's really it. So, So I don't know, but we're going to do? We're going to do the same stuff, we're going to do the mission-driven stuff. And what I'll say is about our members, about our supporters, about our friends all over the country, is they support us. When we need to go to Rochester, New York, we got donations that covered all of it. Mm-hmm. To play one game, and I know everyone wished we could have brought home that W.
But they locked us out of the bathroom.
They did. Honestly, we had to change in the snow outside before the game started. Whatever. They're actually really nice guys.
Pizza man.
But it's like one of those things where you're like, what? How far can we go? We can go super far. We can go as far as this set of people takes us. Where's that going to be?
Somewhere fucking
Minnesota
fun.
soccer doesn't even know
Somewhere
where it's going to be
sweet.
next
Somewhere
year.
fun.
That's heartwarming.
See,
I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
Regardless of what the on-field results end up being, one thing I've noticed over the last 4 years of Stegman's in Minneapolis City stuff is that the people that come out to support us are not just there to support us when we win, but they're there to support us through thick and thin. They've driven down to God knows where, Illinois. I mean, even Garth and Wayne weren't even in fucking West Aurora or whatever that fucking town was.
That was a great trip, though.
That was a good
Another
trip.
good off the field.
That was a good trip. But at the same time, they come down to support us there. Mm-hmm. So, we've got the support of the diehards. We've got the support of some casuals.
The parents.
We're gonna continue to take this take this in a direction of, like you said, what fits our mission, and it's heartwarming all the same, whether we make the playoffs or whether we don't. I had a guy stop me in Costco the other day because I was wearing my Minneapolis City, snow hat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, turned out to be one of the players' dads. I think it was Chuck's dad.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
And it's like,
Whose parents were the only fans in Rochester?
No,
exactly.
they weren't the only fans. We had
the cat.
Oh, yeah.
The cat in the
three
rain.
members of supporters group, because Bryn drove up, and then we had Kate, and we had Doreen. We drew as many fans away, 1,000 miles away in Rochester, as Rochester brought in the snow. And there was only one set of parents.
John, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and then we'll get, because I've got some stuff for Nick too here before we bring it to a close. But
happy to answer him, Nate.
City's success has brought the club and its players and especially your recruitment of new players to the attention of some heavy hitters, some of which have maybe not responded super positively to our efforts. In your world of recruiting and player development, what challenges have you run into thanks to the club's success? And then we'll follow up with, are there any pleasant surprises? We'll start with some challenges.
I think the number one challenge for me is guys whose college coaches of the college ranks say, well, you're a junior or senior in college, you need to go play in the PDL. And my rebuttal to that is, do you want to play in front of no fans, and do you want to not know anyone you play with and take a whole summer to figure things out, or maybe even not play? Or do you want to come home, live the lake life in Minnesota?
Live the lake life.
Like, see your family, have them come out, watch you play. You play thousands of miles away because we don't have a Division I program here. Your parents can't come to your games. A lot of the guys we have in, their parents thrive on the fact that they play for us because they get to watch them play. Their neighbors get to come out and watch them play. Their brothers, sisters, all that stuff. So we built the
Buddies from high school. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I guess I'd say something to that, where it's like, when you think about you playing Kaiserslautern, if it's anything like my experience, so much of the pressure came from other people who watch you. Like, my issue with like the DA and why you're playing with better players and arguably many better coaches, but in high school, like a bunch of girls I wanted to meet afterwards, like all these people, like I want to play a lot harder than I did against
Nobody.
in front of fucking no one.
Yeah.
So you want to play against hundreds of people, 1,000 people, or do you want to play against nobody in some like backwater PDL? What's going to make you better? What's going to make you what's more like pro?
And if you look at Max Stegard left us for our first year, went and played in Weston, Florida in the PDL, hated his experience, came back, had a fantastic year, named in the top 11 in the MPSL, across over 100 teams, and enjoyed his summer.
Yeah.
Then moved that into his senior year at Central Florida. Balled out. Was a top 10 team in the country. I've talked to him. He goes, I attribute the fun that I had this summer to the mentality I brought into my senior year of soccer. That's what I look for. But those challenges of a college coach saying, nope, it's your time to play in the PDL. Like, I can't compete with that because college coaches are their soccer bosses.
Yeah.
And I'm just the guy renting them for the summer.
Occasionally give them those scholarships, right?
Right. Yeah. Pay for their school, and I rent them for the summer. So that's my number one challenge. My second challenge is the fact that, and it's going to sound a little bit conceited and a little bit kind of elitist, but as of today, elitist. right. As of today, we've had over 400 people contact us about playing for our team since August. So that's 400 emails I've had to respond to. Individually myself, which is a full-time job in itself, that these guys want to come play for us. I don't have a home for 400 players. I have a home for a chosen 60 tops. And if we have a U19 team, we add another 26 to 30 to that. Maybe 100 of that.
Can you imagine the awkward emails you'd get from like 17-year-old kids who don't use email?
They're like sending you Snapchat messages.
My Snapchat, which I don't know how to use, is blowing up. No, with younger players. But I can't possibly find a home for all these players. These guys that are talented.
It's an embarrassment of riches, John.
It kind of is, and that leads me to my last point. Is we came out with not necessarily a lot of rules as to what we want our club to be, but one of our strict rules is they have to live here, they have to be from Minnesota. From Minnesota means a bunch of different things. From Minnesota could mean a guy born and raised. It could be someone like us who are transplants that came here, that live here, that started a life here. It could mean someone who goes to school here. It could also mean someone that's moving here for a job, for an internship for the summer. They live here. They collect a paycheck here. They are from Minnesota. Out of those 400 players that contact me, like maybe 10% fill that need. So I have the luxury of saying, just so you know, we only do this. If you have a place to stay and you're from here, you're coming here, yes. If you don't, on to the next. And that also creates a challenge where eventually at some point in what we're doing, the talent level that we found in Minnesota, it will dry up. So we're going to have some lean years eventually at some point.
The talent will attract more teams.
Right. and
Is your prediction?
right, and I or the fact that like there just won't there'll be a down year in Minnesota soccer, and we won't have 15 players that are aging out of U18s that need a home that are good.
You mean like the U.S. national team this past World Cup?
Yeah, like we're gonna go through an attrition of talent at some point, but we're gonna stick with the rules we have in place.
So Nick, John is not the only one with an increased profile lately. Few people may know this, but you are a bit of an armchair graphic designer who has a penchant for club logos and some kits. Talk about that a little bit. How did you get started in this realm of designing kits for other lower league clubs and designing their logos?
I'm really nervous right now because you built me up pretty high.
Fucking own it, man.
So I've always been, I don't know why, I've always been drawn to uniforms that teams wear. One of my favorite catalogs to receive in the mail way back in the 90s was something that had like baseball jerseys, football jerseys, hockey jerseys, all that shit. But I was always drawn to it. And once, Photoshop came around and all the templates that people were building out for like their football manager games that they were playing and all that stuff, I started to realize that, you could kind of easily take what somebody else has done and tweak it. And I wouldn't say I'm a graphic designer by any stretch of the imagination. I'm pretty good at putting shapes into place and balancing colors. Good example would be the 2018 Minneapolis City home kits, the white jersey with the Sabo Bridge inspiration. That was one where I didn't do the actual design, the artwork on it, but putting it onto a shirt and figuring out whether it worked best coming off the left shoulder and going down to the right hip, or right shoulder to the left hip, with stimulus logos, with club, crest logos and sponsor logos. I just kind of played around with that. And so it's really become a kind of a hobby for me, and I got some notoriety. I don't know if that's the good version or the bad version of the word. When Alexandria, that team in Alexandria, Motoric ALX, put out their jerseys that they were looking at bringing to life through one of our former kit suppliers. And the templates that they sent back that they were touting on Twitter were just awful renderings. They were probably great for the artwork that needed to get created for the kids, but they were just awful to present and to show.
Looks gross.
Yeah, it looks like somebody drew it in MS Paint. Mm-hmm. And so I just took it upon myself to draw it on the templates that I had. The exact same things, not stepping outside the lines there. The exact same designs, but putting it on a decent template that they can showcase. And then they kind of came to me for, hey, who's Minneapolis City and Stegman's working with? Can you do some other things? Because I also tweaked their away kit. Their home kit and their away kit were too similar for true, distinction between the kits. So I created a brand new away kit for them, and then that led me to getting the right to donate my time.
Thank you so much.
For Charlottesville FC.
Okay.
Or FC Charlottesville. I can't remember which comes first. But I took the Charlottesville City seal, which is a quartered circle, and I created a kit that had 4 quadrants, stripes, very similar to an old Liverpool shirt, broken up into quadrants, and did that for their home shirt and their away shirt. It's something a little bit more simpler, but, just things I start playing around with, and then also taking into consideration the amateur nature of it all.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look...
Well, not just that, but how many times do you see a team in the Premier League or the Bundesliga with their home kit has 1 shirt, 1 short, 1 socks, their away kit has a completely separate shirt, shorts, and socks combination. For Stegman's, we have to make sure our shirt works with a single color of shorts and a single color of socks, so that we only have to buy one pair of shorts, one pair of socks for our players. And so I started taking that kind of stuff into consideration. Minneapolis City, we can mix it up just a little bit more, especially with the socks. The shorts typically stay the same, but things like that. It's just, for some reason, it intrigues me. And since then, I've put together a few kits that haven't gotten made yet through Corner Flag Creative. Hopefully their National High Stakes League bid comes through and we can get some of those kits made. Start just dicking around with new crests that you see, like Hartford Athletic.
Yeah.
Got a few things I put together there. Have not shared that with the world because I used a local brewery for their sponsor logo, which God knows.
FPO.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
For what is it? Presentation only.
Yeah, for presentation only, sure. For FPO, don't know if they'd be agreeable to it being on a soccer kit,
Probably
but
not.
Things like that. So I like to dick around and play around with it. And Dan and I think before we got to the Sabo Ridge and the Plaid, there was
quite a few.
8 or 10 other designs that we looked
Stealth
at.
kit.
4 or 5 for each home
sick.
kit and away kit.
Yeah.
We then turned, some of them into Stegman's kits,
We
like
did.
the stealth kit. Yeah. I got one here. If you want to see it later, I'll show you the goods. But, it's...
I mean,
it's
that's the
just
thing
fun.
I'd say. We want a designer like Nick, because every little detail counts. So I said to Nick, yeah, we should do something like some Paul Bunyan shit with fucking pink. That was pretty much literally what I said.
That was the brief.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, I knew exactly what I was hoping for back. But
I didn't.
Nick, who's got to arrange the logos and make sure things work, and okay, so how's this plaid gonna work? And how even the plaid, the crosshatch, how thick does that need to be so it turns well? There's a lot of detail, a lot of fine detail for how that plays out on a shirt.
Yeah.
And if all you say
How
is
that looks when it's on a person.
right,
Yeah.
and if
When
your
it's running
brief
down
is
the
we should
field.
do some Paul Bunyan shit in pink, you need a guy like Nick to actually make it look good. And I think that's what we've kind of seen across the way.
So you're saying your portfolio of design is strong to
growing.
quite strong.
Yeah.
Well, and then you've got something in, like the murder sleeves, goalie kits.
Yeah.
Dan's brief that he sent to me via a Slack message, so all of 60 characters.
I want to kill people.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but
not really kill people.
Something like the Nigeria 94-95 Nike kit. And so I put together something based on that, and I like the design that I came up with. Of course I do, because I designed it. But it just didn't fit. It really didn't fit where we were going with Minneapolis City, and what we ended up with the murder sleeves. I don't take credit from it, but it's one of those things where you look back on it and you're like, I may have contributed to that process that got us here. And my version was completely different, but it was still cool to see it come to life, even though I didn't have a hand in designing or moving the pixels around.
One more question for you, Nick, because you've talked throughout this that you're kind of the guy behind. You're more of a Stegman's guy now than a City guy. You are the Sarah Schreier of Stegman's,
Right.
Taking that over and as president of the MRSL, things like that. As City grows up and its reliance on its roots in men's league soccer evolves, how do you see Stegman's changing or adapting to support it? Because in the past, Stegman's was the U23 team. Stegman's was where we could send guys that are rehabbing, guys that maybe can't get regular minutes, that sort of thing. Now we've got a U23 team. We're going to have a U19 team. Where does Stegman's fit into this Minneapolis City Stegman's ecosystem?
Well, I think Stegman's continues to exist on its own, yet still supporting Minneapolis City. It's a really odd
synergy
of sorts.
Uh-huh.
Stegman's needs to continue to do what
it's always done.
what it's always done, what helped us grow to this point where we could start Minneapolis City. And the U23s playing with Stegman's 1977s is still going to continue. Having a U19 team only helps Stegman's. If I'm thinking only of Stegman's, it only helps us continue to find decent talent to round out our squads. And I mean, how many times have we had Charlie Hines and his brother Nick, who played with Minneapolis City for 1 to 2 years, play down on
A Sunday League team.
8 of the 5 Stegman's teams. I mean, literally, I think we abused him to the point where he was playing more games than we actually had games on that day.
Same with Hoof, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But that's a big thing, right? Like if I think back to, like, John, when you and I were playing, it was so hard to find games. You'd play on every team you could.
I play like I'm in like church league team. And
Yeah.
But I think if you think about like that golden age that sort of peaked at the O2 World Cup, a lot of what happened was everyone cared enough to go out. They play for fun. John was like kicking balls into trash cans. Like we would play for hours and hours and hours every day, all the time. Any league, didn't matter. And if you think about some of the guys on our team, like AO, he's played for Stegman since he was 17.
you got to tear him off the field.
Right? Like he will not stop playing. Like he play, and you got to. And frankly, when you're a teenager, you're gonna play with fucking men because all of a sudden you're gonna play with dudes and they're gonna like kick your ass.
Yeah.
AO showed up to the wrong field for a fall league game and ended up playing with Stegman's United instead of Stegman's Old Boys. Like that's the prevalence of Stegman's, and that's also how our guys interact. I mean, he was
And also how you won that game.
right. No, that was not.
They literally did not score against us.
That was not a United versus Old Boys game. I was in the air flying somewhere at that point in time. But, that's one of those things where it's like AO showed up before we had assumed internationals into the Stegman's brand. And he showed up and it's like, oh,
Guys,
I think
Here's
you're
someone
on the-
that's good.
I think you're on the wrong field, but I'm not going to tell you that because, you're a solid player.
yeah, I'll
and
tell you after the game.
We had the same thing happen with Tim Wills, like where with the team that I played on.
The SOB Cup.
Yeah, so we had an annual preseason tournament called the SOB Cup, and we've had it for years. And you get to take a picture with a sweet trophy and whatnot.
And then now it's
The big platter.
And we during our integration with internationals, we had just offered up to some of the core guys that if you want to come play with some of our other teams, you can. So we had a fall league team that AO and Timmy and a few other guys played on, and through our team management system, which is Team Snap, we put our SOB Cup roster in there, and
Team Snap, you need to sponsor us.
yeah, we've given you a lot of business, you
so
assholes.
much.
So we're getting ready, and like I'm organizing the team that given day, and all of a sudden, like Timmy shows up, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "It was on Team Snap," and I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I got a notification we got games today, so I just showed up to play some soccer." And then Timmy proceeds to score a hat trick in his first game, and is like, "So do you need me in the second game today?" And we're like, "Yeah, we need
hang
you.
around.
Yeah, why don't you hang around? You scored a hat trick last game, So it's like it's just that like I don't see Stegman's ever changing as a result of City of whatever it is. It's just going to be how much more integrated is City going to get into Stegman's.
Mm-hmm.
To respond to your question somewhat succinctly, I think Stegman's needs to find a way to continue to grow along with City without overextending. And that's been one of our problems in the past, is that we've overextended.
Overextend all the time.
Every day. But, we just need to... we need to have the ability to accommodate some of the players in the U23, the U19 levels, without accommodating everybody and creating 18 Stegman's teams.
Traffic jam, yeah.
So we need to continue to move the ethos of Stegman's forward, which at the end of the day underlies the Minneapolis City ethos and helps move them forward. But we need to be able to grow with them without losing our sense of self.
Dan.
Yes.
Player and fan input is something that every club has to deal with on Twitter, positive or negative. solicited or otherwise. Unlike some clubs, City seems to thrive on it, right? Unlike some clubs who might shrink from that sort of interaction, City loves it. How has player and fan input been welcomed by Minneapolis City, and how has it helped the club get better?
Nate, that's a $600 question. This guy knows what I'm talking about.
We seriously need $600.
If you have $600, send it to us.
You'll get a postcard on Christmas.
So that is a good question, because I think that a lot of clubs don't necessarily do it right, in that they don't think through what it means to have fan engagement or to be like a proper club. So we didn't even nickname ourselves, right? We were just City. Holy shit, John! Get your hands off of the blue ball microphone.
Caught it. Maybe I should be a goalkeeper.
Yeah, well, okay.
Proceed.
Let me get back to my answer. Nick, that's my beer.
Oh.
I'd be willing to split it with you. Thank you. All right.
Hashtag brotherhood.
Fuck, everybody. This podcast is really going downhill. Okay, so for everyone listening at home, really wondering about it. So there are two things that are important. One, it is really important to do like the basics right. Like this whole bullshit, hey, people who know me, for 2 months or whatever, please vote on the name. Fuck you. That's dumb. What you need to do is you need to do what we did. We didn't take a nickname. We were just Minneapolis City. And then we like organically let it happen. And frankly, I'm pro grumpy cats. I don't like real cats. I like cats on the internet. But
They're grumpy.
right? Like super funny. We had like the Eradicators, also kind of funny. Kyle Lawson, if you're listening, that was a great nickname. But where it all turned around was, and Peter Willis said this to me, once he knew we were the Crows, he said, you need to choose a nickname that's like true to your city. I was like, yo, have you ever heard of mega murder? Google that shit. Like, go on Facebook, Google it. There's like a mega murder of crows in South Minneapolis, and we're named after him because David Baker, who started the citizen supporter group before even a team, named us after like the most South Minneapolis things. And so that like kept us really grounded. And there have been times when, and it's been hard to hear sometimes because I do most of the tweeting. I've gotten negative feedback. You're too angry. You're too negative. You're too this. You're too that. But I think it's appropriate, right? Because all too often it's easy if you're this like corporate sports thing where you can do your own thing. You can do stupid, like unconnected, bullshit stuff, and people like they check out, right? They're like,
there's a certain team in town that does that weekly.
The Vikings.
Yes, where they'll tweet something randomly like, "Who's ready for Friday?" And people are like, "I'm ready for you to sign a number 6."
Or they're busy getting shelled 4-0 at halftime. They're like, "Well, better luck." And then the second half, you're like, "No, man, you're fucked."
Yeah.
But
fire the guy with the keyboard.
But it's one of those things where like it's sometimes hard to hear, but I think it's made us better. And our whole thing with like the People's Club is we want to be responsive to that. And so we listen, and like I listen pretty aggressively, and like the feedback in Twitter and emails or whatever, like I hear it, and sometimes it is like reading mean tweets. Like it's not always easy. I mean, I can still remember I was in San Francisco on a business trip. I got a call from Sarah Schreier, who we were busy talking about the fourth founder, who was all on me about some tweet, and I'm like, busy. I'm like, I'm halfway through my run, 2 blocks, whatever. Just like, I don't think that's a problem. I pull up Twitter, I'm like, oh shit, I better delete that. But like, it's one of those things. Like, if you're gonna be kind of a bikini club like ours, you got there are people who are gonna do stuff, right? Like, I'm on just Twitter, and sometimes I'm gonna get it wrong. And your choice is you can double down and not care, or you can like adjust and kind of be the team that you need to be, the club you need to be. And I think our responsiveness to that's been appropriate. I also think that like there's a level of we're just here to have fun, right? Like we're taking it as serious as we can and unseriously as we can, and
we do it for free.
Right, but that's the thing. It's hard to get really mad at someone who's like, well, I try my best. Like I'm volunteering a bunch of time. We have so many volunteers and we invite so many people in. There's no gatekeeping here. You want to be part of this? Come on in. So I'm like I'm pumped about how we did it. Fun fact: I'd never used Twitter before Minneapolis City.
Me either.
Wow.
So I actually signed up for Twitter before then, but I like didn't really know how to use it. So like the account just
sat
out there for a while.
I didn't get it.
Very strange.
Yeah. How is this the thing?
So Twitter, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of that,
Okay.
you've got all three of us.
Game
Minneapolis
changer.
City, Stegman's.
Yeah.
We know that 2020 is going to bring the U19 squad, at least as far as new developments for Minneapolis City. That's a big milestone. What do each of you envision for the club in 2025? We'll start with you, Dan.
Nate, I'm making a face at you.
Yeah,
Because it's a
you're
long way
grimacing.
away. I'm unsure.
I mean, it's difficult math.
It's very. How many years is that from now? I'm unsure. I was an English major.
Seven, yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Carry the
So
remainder.
it was,
There's a one somewhere.
yeah.
Fuck.
Niner to do something.
Yeah,
Niner.
yeah, catch that one
Well,
there.
so part of the issue is I don't know where U.S. soccer is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, fuck if I have any idea. What I do know is we're going to be locked into our mission, and we're going to be in the best place that we possibly can be to achieve that mission. Building a club of regular people that supports players in our community, get their next level, and does it with this professionally amateur, super fun approach. Now, where I'd love to be is there are some big things, right? Like, I think we should be thinking about how do we find a home, like a legit home beyond the club shop. You know, what does it take to get to a stadium or a stadium rental? What does it take to have some full-time employees? And depending on where soccer in America is going to be, where's the NCAA going to be, you know, solidarity payments, like all that's going to be a determinant of where we end up. But you know, the truth is, where we are now is not the limit of our financial might. It's just this is the best place to achieve our vision. If that starts to change, we need more financial might behind it. We've got it. But it has to be tied to that vision. It's got to be true to those like it's got to be this member driven. It's got to be this like regular people. It's got to be this local player club, and whatever it takes to be that, that's what we're going to be. And if I knew what that was going to be next year, let alone in 7 or whatever carry the 1 years are, I would tell you.
That's an amazing way to dodge the question. Nick, any Nick Stradamus-like predictions for 2025?
We are going to be well poised in the proper position to
Like
be
the one with a real answer.
to be the most arrogant and professionally amateur team there is in U.S. soccer.
You might be. John, what do you think?
So I'm gonna actually have a real answer for you. Suppose these two jackals.
Fuck that.
So when I look at success in what we can do within the NPSL, and I'm just thinking about this straight as we don't move a league at some point in there where we're in the NPSL.
The calls for us to join the NPSL Pro or
whatever.
the go unheated and
Not allowed to call it that.
Yep.
whatever it is. It
The
feels like
NPSL amateur with
I told
players
you.
who
I
are
was,
played.
I was telling you that the other night. It's like anytime that comes up, I'm like, it's never going to fucking happen. I don't know why anyone's tweeting about this. Anyone who knows anything about the club would never suggest that we would join the NPSL.
I may have
Pro.
tweeted a bunch of cartoon sailors shoveling cash into a furnace.
Anyway, so 2025, Jon
so-
Bisswurm's vision.
So I have less emphasis on postseason because college players get called back. We saw it happen this year where we were missing 8 starters and we had to go to Ann Arbor. Yes, to catch a regional title and to catch a national title, fucking awesome. But if we can fill our trophy case with consistent league titles, I find that to be successful. I don't put as much emphasis on the regional or national piece, and I think that we're in a position where we can achieve that, and we can have the lion's share of what we do in the summer is play our league games. And if we can be the best team that does that, and every now and then we maybe go on a run in the playoffs because we actually try to make a run in the playoffs, awesome. But to have a trophy case full of league titles would be fantastic, and I think that's where we're headed.
Well, and that is all for this week, folks. A big thanks to John and Nick and Dan for joining us. And as always, thank you to our sponsor, Summit Brewing. We could never have made it to 100 episodes without you, and we sure drank a lot of it along the way
We would have
and
been
tonight.
at like 150
Especially this
episodes
episode.
by this point.
Make sure everyone to keep a lookout for your favorite varieties at your local bars and local liquor stores. Summit Brewing, a more meaningful brew since 1986. If giving back to the community means a lot to you, maybe it is time to give back to the club that gives back. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that provides a safe, reliable, and fun environment for young people to play the beautiful game. Look for us playing with kids in community centers around the city, and consider a tax-deductible donation to a true city-focused organization before the year is out. Memberships are available for 2019, and they are on sale through the end of the year. It is the perfect Christmas present. At $60, you get a ticket to every home game, a fancy new membership scarf, and a say in club decisions like, hey, maybe we want to add a U19 team. Visit mplscitysc.com for more information.
I thought you were a
Nice work, Nate.
copywriter for a
Nice
while.
work.
Oh, playing with kids? You
that
fucking
was-
love it.
It's not over.
If you want to, it's easy to.
more.
If you
But
want to,
wait, there's more.
It's easy to hit us up on Twitter at The People's Pitch or through email at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. All questions, comments, and concerns are welcome, and if we remember, we might feature it on the show. And that is all for this week. Once again, we leave you with our house MC, Miles Stockman-Willis, a.k.a. Malaise, with an original track for you called When You Fall. I am Nate. That is John. That is Nick. That is Dan. Take us out, gentlemen.
You got
Look at
hoof.
Fuck.
Duh.
Jesus.
See, I see the real you. Yeah, boo, I found you. So don't ever frown when loneliness is around you. I'ma show you that someone should crown you, not clown you, but pursue virtue would never hurt you. Critical in distance, touch is digital, biblical. Till death, love is unconditional. Telling us we're a team and not two individuals. For you, I give my spleen, the spiritual and the physical. Loving what is fragile isn't always fixable, but I see what's invisible. See it with vex visuals. Grab my hand, hold it. We gon' think the unthinkable. I promise we will float, that our boat's unsinkable. I promise I'ma drown in you, let you drown in me. Reveal the recipe, you I love to overfeed. I love it. Let's proceed slowly, not go bad like moldy. Ravioli, rigatoni. Girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall. Free, girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall. Temptation's about to give in, but I'm staying true. If I sin, may I be forgiven for a few. What we got to lose? Nothing. You just gotta listen. Such a good girl. Just made a bad decision. One and done. She looking fine. Nothing missing, but got my hands tied like I'm the villain. Evil only swallows pride, but I'm sometimes kidding. Finger licker kitty after feed the kittens. Cute shit. Kiss me softer than a baby's grip. New sense of high when she bites her lower lip. If she quit, make my heart skip, then snip. When we're together like ice cream mixed with some mint pepper. Shawty had to rescue my respiratory. Wants a man who's a man, that is mandatory. Only without her off the pad, like I never met with Dory. Help her write her story, take the qualms on her quarry. Girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall. Girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall. Selfie Thomas as the rollie. Always be my plus one. Shawty is my bogey. In it for the long haul, not for the trophy. Every day, feeling greater than Tony. Falling for her, and I think she falling for me too. Falling like two V's, make a W. Type of dude to build you up and make the rubble move. Type of dude to have my phone out all in front of you. Only cause you got my back. Presence always sets the mood. Never starts any trouble without any proof. No problems if there was, make the puzzle poof. Laugh it off. Goofballs, you should see the spoof. Girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall. Free, girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall.